Hello and a very good morning to all our viewers. Hectic and next you guys are watching Morning Bulletin with me, Kanav Bali. And as always, after a 2 day break, that is the weekend, we are back with cricket updates from all over the world. And we have a lot of news for you guys today. We'll start with obviously the most important match is just around the corner. Day after tomorrow will uh, be the WTC final, the start of the WTC final, India versus Australia. It is a very highly anticipated match, and both the teams are raring to go and keep their hand on that ICC Test mace. Um, and New Zealand are the defending champions for the ICC Test match. They won the first World Test Championship that was 2 years ago, 2021, when they beat India in the final when the match was played at the Southampton Stadium in England. Both the teams are ready. Both are practicing in England for the last 1 week now, if not more. But there's a very major setback for the Australian team when it comes to the WTC final, and that is that Josh Hazlewood, one of the premier pacers in the Australian camp, will miss out on the WTC final. He was doing good. He was doing good in the practice session for the last few days, but unfortunately, he's still nursing a left Achilles heel as well as a side injury. As you guys must have remember during the IPL 2023, he was in the RCB team, but he had to leave after few matches because there was a side injury that flared up suddenly, and he had to leave and go for a rehab so that because it's a very important test summer for Australia. WTC final followed by Ashes, a five-match Ashes series. So Hazelwood didn't want to take that risk. As of now, unfortunately, he won't be able to play in the WTC final, and the Australian team is looking at a bigger picture, considering that this is not just a one-off test. Uh, since this is not just a one-off test, so they are preparing him to get fit, get better, and then play in the Ashes series that is coming right up after this final. He has been replaced by Neser. Michael Neser was already playing in UK for Glamorgan in the county championship, and he has taken 19 wickets at an average of 25.63. So he is in a good form, and he is in a good form, especially in the English conditions. Michael Neser has been playing in the county season for the past few weeks now, so he have that edge. He knows, like as we talk about Cheteshwar Pujara, he has been playing in the county for the last few weeks, so he knows the conditions. He is a perfect player in these conditions to bat for India, as he's used to batting on these pitches and in these conditions to this. So as Pujara will help India, similarly Michael Neser might help Australia with his experience of playing in England for the last few weeks. So we'll have to wait and see how does he comes up, if at all he gets to play, he gets in the playing 11 or not, or will we see Boland, Stark, and Cummins attack of these three with Cameron Green being the all-rounder. So we'll have to wait and see. Oval is kind of a pitch which doesn't necessarily benefit the Pacers as does Lords and the other grounds. Oval is a more of a neutral pitch which helps both Pacers and spinners to a certain extent. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of an attack does Australia go with. Um, in a statement about Josh Hazlewood, one of the Australian coaching team members said, Josh was very close to being given the green light, but we are cognizant that our upcoming schedule means this is not a one-off test match for us. That is Michael Neser, county form has been strong, and knowing that he was going to be close by allowed for him to keep playing and for us to be able to call on him. He's a great strength to have as part of the fast bowling group. This will give Josh Hazlewood, an ideal preparation leading into Edgbaston with six test matches in a little over 7 weeks. We will need all our fast bowling assets. So as I said, six matches in a little over 7 weeks. Six matches means one WTC final and then five Ashes matches. So it's a very hectic test summer for Australia. So they are looking at a bigger picture and they need all their fast bowling assets ready and raring to go when the Ashes comes. So we hope that Hazelwood recovers well and then he comes back and plays into the Ashes so that we get to see a proper competition between both the teams. He is a quality bowler. He has been a quality bowler, but he has been marked with injuries for the last 1 year now. So we hope that he recovers well. Coming on to the next news, yesterday Rohit Sharma talked about the 2020 and 21 BJT win. Yes, we all remember that historic test series between India and Australia on the Australian soil, which India won miraculously because the way India was going, they lost the first match. The way they lost the first match, rather, at a relay 36 all out, or rather 36 for 9. One of the most horrific days in the Indian Test history when a team like India gets out on 36, all out on 36. So that made the win probably more special, considering the fact that there were no senior players, only few senior players were left, and there were injury concerns throughout the series. India came back in Melbourne with Ajinkya Rahane's century, the captain leading from the front. Virat Kohli had to leave after the first match, the Adelaide match, because for his daughter was being born, and for the birth of his daughter. So after Ajinkya Rahane's century at Melbourne came the great escape in Sydney, where Ashwin and Hanuma Vihari, Ravichandran Ashwin and Hanuma Vihari escaped a big defeat. The way those two guys took the mark and they faced all. Ashwin had a back injury, Vihari had a leg injury, but both of them stayed on the crease and made sure India doesn't lose and the match ends up in a draw. And then followed by probably the biggest match of the series, the Gaba match. No one had won at Gaba in the last 33 years, but the Indian team, which was full of youngsters, which didn't have the likes of Bumrah or Ravichandran Ashwin for the last match, they came, even Ravindra Jadeja for that matter, I guess, they came and they conquered. They conquered Gaba with the help of Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara, and Rishabh Pant, and also the bowlers. Mohammad Siraj and Shardul Thakur playing a crucial role. Washington Sundar and Shardul Thakur's partnership in the first innings again one for the ages. So Rohit Sharma said the series went down under in 2020-21 with most of the senior players missing has been the biggest achievement for the team. He said, and I quote, I thought the way we played in Australia was the top highlight. After losing the first test in Adelaide and then coming back shows the depth of the team as well. We had a lot of injuries as well. Though I was part of the last two games, I knew that what the team was going through. We held our nerves and we came out on top, but there was a lot of groundwork there behind the scenes as well as for us to get the result. A lot of young guys stepped in and turned things around for us. A lot of senior players were missing on that trip. So yeah, that was certainly the best cricket we played outside India. Rohit Sharma acknowledged the fact that Indian team was in a very bad situation. Rohit didn't play the first two tests because of the injury, but he did make it to the last two tests, and he says the hard work that we did behind the scenes helped us win that historic test series. And I kind of agree because the way injuries were piling up in the Indian camp and then winning at Gaba with a young team. Siraj taking a fifer, his first debut fifer, maiden fifer at Gaba, and then winning series 2, and it was probably one of the most iconic test series win for India in their test history. Uh, so yeah, Rohit did talk about that experience. He also talked about the recently concluded Border Gavaskar series, saying that it was a tightly fought series. Both the team were good, both the team played well, but since India came out as a winner, so they have a lot of confidence going into the WTC final. In the same event that Rohit and Pat Cummins talked about the WTC final, there were also Ricky Ponting, Wasim Akram, who talked about the WTC final. And Akram, while in that event, he compared Shubman Gill and Sachin Tendulkar. He made a very good, a very positive comparison rather. He said that when I bowl to a player like Gill, even in T20 format, it's like I am bowling to Sachin Tendulkar in one-day cricket in the first 10 overs when only two fielders were allowed outside the 30-yard circle. Akram also said that Gill has the ability to become a future superstar and suggested he is going to score big runs across all formats consistently. There has been a lot of comparisons, not comparisons, rather a lot of statements saying that Shubman Gill is the future of Indian cricket. We had Sachin, we had Virat Kohli, and now we have Shubman Gill. He is a three-format player. He will pile on runs in all the three formats. So he's been uh, looking at as the next big thing in Indian cricket, and Wasim Akram kind of agrees because a straight up comparison with the great like Sachin Tendulkar, it does say something about the player's caliber and the skills that he possesses. Akram added, if I had to bowl to Jasurya or Kalu Withrna, I knew I had a chance. I can get them out as they hit on every ball. But players like Sachin and Gill, they play proper cricketing shots. And I think he's the kind of player who can score in all three formats consistently. He's a future superstar of world cricket. So uh, many believe, not just Akram, not just Wasim Akram, many people, cricket fans, cricket experts, former cricket players, believe that Shubman Gill is the future. The way this boy has been playing for quite some time now, especially this year. He has a T20 century, T20 international century. He has an ODI double century. He has a Test century, and he has three IPL centuries in this season. So he is in the form of his life, and probably that is the reason Indian fans are banking on him, are expecting a great run out of him in the WTC final. Akram compared him to Sachin Tendulkar, which is probably the biggest praise there is for a batter to have. So we hope that Gill continues this form. Uh, if or not he turns out to be as talented as Sachin Tendulkar, only time will tell. Comparisons won't help anyone. This is a very big comparison, and it may or may not put pressure on Shubman Gill. But all we want or all we need right now is Shubman Gill to focus on the present and play the WTC final and play it well, score centuries if possible, and take the team home so that they can win the WTC final and they can lift up the ICC Test mix. Uh, Coming on to the next news, which is also a big news. It is that David Warner has revealed his retirement plans. Um, he was talking to the reporters ahead of the WTC final, and they asked him about how long will he keep on playing the test in the test format, and David Warner uh, said that he hopes to end his test career in Sydney, which will be a match against Pakistan next year in January. So he hopes that he plans for that to be his last match, uh, and he wants to end his career at Sydney against Pakistan in January. He said he would rather focus on white ball cricket until the 2024 T20 World Cup in West Indies and USA. So he believes that the Sydney Test against Pakistan in January should be his last Test match, and the 2024 T20 World Cup would be his last T20 or last international match. He would happily retire after that World Cup. Uh, Warner said, and I quote, "We have got to score runs. I always said that 2024 World Cup would probably be my final game," he said. I probably owe it to myself and my family if I can score runs here, that is the WTC final and Ashes, and continue to play back in Australia. I can definitely say I won't be playing that West Indies series. If I can get through this WTC final and Ashes and make the Pakistan series, I will definitely finish up then. So he said that there is a West Indies series right after the Pakistan series in 2024, but he doesn't plan to play that. He said that all I'm thinking of right now is to score runs here, that is in England, that is in WTC final and the Ashes series, and then make sure that I play the Test series against Pakistan at home in this December, Boxing Day, and followed by two more tests. And the Sydney Test that is to be played in January, the last test of the series. He wants that test to be his last test match of his career, and then he wants to focus on T20 cricket and play the 2024 T20 World Cup in USA and West Indies next year in October or November, and then call it quits on his international career and end his international career. So he has pretty much laid out a blueprint, a plan of his retirement as to how many matches he'll play more, and which would be his last match in a particular format, and then which would be his last international match overall. So we hope we get to see David Warner, not in WTC final as an Indian fan, we would say, but at least in Ashes, we hope that David Warner scores a lot of runs. He gets a chance to play against Pakistan at home, and then he ends his career on a high. He has been serving Australian cricket for a long time. He is 35, 36 year old, and there were a lot of talk about his retirement from Test cricket because he has been out of form for a long time. For a very, very, very long time, he was not at his best in the recently concluded Border Gavaskar series in India. And before that, also his test scores were not that much. So there has been a lot of speculation, a lot of demands for him to say bye bye to test cricket and rather focus on the white ball cricket. But finally now he has himself come up and say that I have a certain blueprint in my mind and I owe it to myself and my family that I score runs here and that I somehow make it to the Australian team for the Pakistan series back at home so that I can retire after the Sydney Test. So we'll have to wait and see how it turns out if David Warner is able to score runs or not, and if he makes it to the Pakistan series and then he retires after the Sydney Test in January. We'll have to wait and see. We hope him all the best. We wish him all the best. Rather, may he get what he wants, and may he end his career on a high. So this was it for today. We have a very important WTC final coming up. As I said, that is day after tomorrow. All the Indian team fans are backing the Indian team. They want to win an ICC trophy. It's been 10 years. We last won an ICC trophy. That was the Champions Trophy under the guidance of Amazonian. Since then, there has been a dearth of ICC trophies for the Indian team. We have had a lot of talented players, a lot of skillful players, but the trophy has always managed to evade us. Even the last WTC final, the WTC championship that we played in 2021, which was the first WTC, uh, we managed to make it to the finals, but unfortunately, we lost to New Zealand in the finals, and the ICC Test match had to be taken away to New Zealand. So that still hurts certain Indian fans, and I'm pretty sure the Indian team. So they would be hoping to win it this time for themselves, for their fans. Uh, everyone is looking forward to an ICC Test match. So we'll have to wait and see because the competition is very, very, very tough. The Australian team with that kind of a bowling lineup, even though Josh Hazlewood is not there right now, he'll not play this final, but still with Boland, with Cummins, with Stark, with Cameron Green, with Nathan Lyon. And they call him the goat, and he's a very, very, very skillful off spinner. So Michael Neser also being added to the squad. He has been playing as a safe county kid for quite some time, so he is in a good rhythm. He has taken 19 wickets at an average of 25. So we'll have to wait and see how this turns out, which team will come out as the winner of the WTC, second WTC ever. So you guys please stay connected to Cricket Next and subscribe to us. Follow us across all social media platforms, be it Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You can ask us questions. You can tell your opinions. We love to discuss. We have a lot to discuss. It's a packed year for all cricket fans. We have the WTC final, then we have the Afghanistan series, then the West Indies tour. then the Asia Cup, and then the all important ODI World Cup in India this year. So it's a action packed year. Please ask questions, please give your opinions. We love to discuss on that, and we love to connect with you. So please take care, enjoy this final, and subscribe to Cricket Next. A very, very, very good morning. And cricket matlab cricket next. Thank you.